Even with a lab scope, misfires can be one of the most challenging things to diagnose correctly on a vehicle. That's why we invented our patented ACE misfire detector, which is included in your kit. This Chrysler behind me has an obvious misfire. I'm going to show you which cylinder it's coming from and the probable cause. How to identify that quickly and easily. First, let's set up the type of vehicle. This is a Chrysler with a 3.5-liter engine. The ignition type is a coil-on plug ignition system. The year, 1999. The make, Chrysler. The make, LHS. Box on the screen, you can easily tell the number one cylinder is the forward cylinder over the passenger fender on this engine. This is number one ignition coil, and we're going to hook to the signal wire for the coil. Next, we're going to take our first look sensor and insert it into the tailpipe of the vehicle. Once connected, we'll start the engine. All that's left to do is find your Go icon on the upper left portion of the screen of the software, click it with your mouse, Picoscope will load, and start taking samples. You can already see that number 5 cylinder has been identified as a misfiring cylinder. Let's shut the engine off for a moment. Now that you know the cylinder, we need to find the root cause of the misfire. Basically, as you know, there's only 3 root causes that can cause a misfire. You can have a compression issue, an air-fuel ratio issue, or an ignition issue. The software will ask you for some inputs to determine the root cause. The first thing you need to enter is a vacuum read. We'll hook up our gauge to a vacuum point on the engine. Once the engine's started, you can observe a vacuum gauge. You'll notice that this needle is steady, and the engine vacuum is approximately 19 inches. Vacuum reading is 19 inches. We have a steady needle. All that's left is to enter the long-term fuel trim for the bank that the misfiring cylinder is on, which in this case is bank 1. To do this, connect the scan tool, data stream, and look at the long-term fuel trim for the bank. You may not be able to see this screen, but the long-term fuel trim for this bank on this engine is +8. Once we've entered the long-term fuel trim, the software gives us a rationality that the root cause of the cylinder misfire on number 5 is ignition related. For a coil-on plug ignition system, you don't have ignition wires to deal with. There's only a few possibilities that could possibly cause an ignition misfire on this type of ignition. One is the ignition coil itself. Another is a trigger to that coil. The third, possibly a spark plug. But you can see on the spark plug unburned fuel, and it obviously was not firing. On this particular engine, the spark plugs are rather recessed into the cylinder head. The boot from the coil inserts down into a sleeve. When we pull the plug, we notice a lot of rust and some water. We're going to replace the spark plug in this engine. Now that we've replaced the plug, let's recrank the engine and take another sample. Misfire is gone, quick and easy.